It all started with a well-loved brick rancher. Today, it's The Bend, a 1970s home turned cocktail bar tucked under the trees in Ogden. Let's go behind the scenes and figure out how this house became one of Wilmington's hottest new spots and what kind of transformation it might inspire in your own home. Today, we're talking about something I'm pretty obsessed with, how design and renovation choices completely changed the way a home feels and what it's worth. I'm joined today by a great friend, Greer Creech, a realtor with the Logan Sullivan Real Estate Group and the CEO of Greer Elizabeth Interiors. Greer specializes in residential real estate, interior design, home staging, and value-driven renovations. Now, introducing my very good friend, Greer.
Hi, guys.
You were born in Miami.
Yeah.
How in the world did you end up in Wilmington?
It's a long story, but I'll make it short. I met my now husband there when I was working as a hairstylist in Miami. When I was in my 20s, my husband was there for law school, and we met, and he was from Greenville, North Carolina. And then eventually, as the relationship moved forward, he moved back to his hometown, or I should say home state, and I followed him. And we ended up here in Wilmington together.
And now you have beautiful babies.
We have beautiful babies
I
and
love
absolutely
it.
adore it. It's home now.
So how did you end up in real estate and design?
Well, it was sort of a bit of a metamorphosis. I had done hair for a really long time. I did it for about 20 years, and I was ready for something new. And I knew that homes always inspired me, not just design and whatnot, but I always loved the relationship design had to the selling and buying of homes,
It's
and
so
how much
important.
value it brings to the home to have it look and feel a certain way. And I kind of married the two and did both.
You did. Greer actually designed my house. I didn't even know she was doing design. I knew she was in real estate, and then I had you come over, and we had so much fun.
We had a blast.
I'll post pictures of the before and afters of this as well. It was phenomenal.
It was.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you were also a really great client who gave me a lot of creative freedom, and we got to play. And I do love having a good relationship with my clients because it makes the creative process so much more fun when they let you do the thing you know best how to do.
Greer one day showed up at my house with 2 pillows, and she goes, and it was the best day. And they're my favorite pillows.
Yes. Yes, they're fabulous.
I almost brought them up here and stole them for my office, but then I couldn't give them up. What did the very first design project that you ever did teach you about working with people? Because I know designing our own homes is one thing, but when you kind of step into a space of somebody else's, that gets weird.
Yeah, I think it's like any other service industry. When you're working one-on-one with a person, you really have to get to know the people you're working with. You have to understand that not just their personalities, but their lifestyles and how your design is going to play into their life, and really just sit down and have a really good inspiration talk about what inspires them and what showing them visuals and seeing how they react in real time to visuals will basically get you real quick to know what design direction you need to move in with that particular client. But it's really fun.
Pinterest board heavy.
Pinterest board heavy.
My Pinterest board was all over the place, though. I was like, I like this, and I like this, and I like this.
Well, we'll get into that, too, because, some people, they go into it really not understanding anything about design. So you kind of come in as a mentor and a teacher, too, not just somebody who has all the ideas. You teach them along the way what we're doing, and it makes it more collaborative.
I love that. So when you say value-driven renovation, what does that mean? Because that's something that you've talked about with me a lot. And I really want the people in Wilmington to hear value-driven renovation equals.
Well, value-driven renovation is essentially a very fancy way of saying getting more bang for your buck. No two houses are the same. So really your value in value-driven renovation is different as you go from home to home, meaning this home might have a really amazing kitchen, but the floors are not working with the rest of the home or has other issues. So you don't have to put your money towards the kitchen, but you might want to put it towards, paint and flooring and things that have taken deterioration over time, stuff like that. And it really is just home to home, depending.
I feel like that's also person to person, because I might have moved into a house and hated the kitchen, but the kitchen could have been fine. Like the kitchen here was absolutely move-in ready. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't what I wanted. And I probably could have put my money a little bit somewhere else. But that was like, all right, this is my forever home. This is what I want. But when we're talking about if you know that you're going to sell in the next few years, that's really important.
Yeah, I think it's having an eye for what in the home, what can be pulled in at the time in the home to create value that is best for resale purposes, not necessarily for your own taste in the home, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
If a kitchen is to some extent updated and it's not necessarily your taste, that's okay. We're not selling to you. We're selling to the next guy. And we're also going to incorporate the rest of the home and the design and money that we put into the rest of the home to sort of meet that kitchen so that there's a cohesion in the home and stuff like that. Not necessarily revamping everything, but being selective about what you change.
I love that. So if I am a buyer or a seller looking to sell my house or looking to buy a new house, would you be like walking me through this and being like, hey, this really needs to be, a priority, or how does that work?
Yeah. So the initial consultation with a client usually involves a walkthrough, extensive, really. And again, I like to bring my creative approach on the design side to the seller and really level with them about first impressions. So when people walk into the home, what are they going to feel? What are they going to smell? What are they going to think? What story is this house going to tell them? And that story really has to just be something clean, comfortable,
something they can see themselves
something decluttered, a place where they can move around and visualize making it their own. Now, that doesn't mean removing all the furniture and making it stark and having people try to visualize where everything's going to go, but minimizing distractions.
I was going to say, how important is it? Like when I remember selling my first few houses, and I was like, do I have to like take down all my family pictures? Do I have to declutter this beautiful little like picture wall? And they were like, yeah.
Yeah. So, personal touches are okay. But again, it's making the family that walks through there envision where they're going to put their photos and what open walls could they use to, get their frames up and their artwork and all that. And clean walls, clean counters and all that allows them to have a little bit of self-inspiration. And
I feel like a good deep clean also helps with the smell stuff.
1,000%. I'm a absolute dead set. You have to have your home extremely clean before you show it. And you know what? I'm not afraid to get down and dirty myself. I think a lot of times real estate agents, don't go as deep and as far into the preparation of preparing the home as they should. We have 2 hands, 2 feet, and a brain, and we have a house to sell. So if necessary, that's what we do. We get down and dirty.
One of my very first real estate transactions, I bought a townhouse and we were renting it while John and I were living in his house. It was right around the time Noah was born. And we decided to put it on the market and the renters just weren't very clean. And I literally texted them and I was like, hey, do you mind if I come in and like scrub the cabinets? And there was like a thick layer of grease on top of the cabinet, so it smelled like grease. So
a lot of times there's people that don't see dirt. There's people that walk through homes and they can see past it. But you don't want to take the chance that the 2 people that walk through that house that day see those things.
Because it also feels like a level of care that was skipped. And it's like, all right, well, if they didn't clean it.
Exactly. So if the surface level is not taken care of, what does that say about the foundation of the home too?
And I guess that goes back to design, right? Like if you care about your house enough to make it look really nice and clean, then that's what a buyer is also going to see as their future. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about the Bend. You were one of the like lead designers on this project. And if anybody doesn't know what the Bend is, I totally suggest looking it up. I'll link it in the show notes. But it is this awesome little bar, restaurant, ice cream shop, outdoor space. And it's stunning. You did such a good job.
Thank you. And it's family friendly. So it's
super family friendly.
Something that was really needed in the area.
Yes. Yeah. Because there have been a couple restaurants that have gone no kids lately.
Yeah, there's something for everyone at the Bend. There's food, there's ice cream, there's beautiful cocktails.
So good.
And it's owned
by
the
giant shuffleboard table.
Giant. That was Randy, the owner. Shout out to Randy. And that was one of his first purchases. That is an antique shuffleboard, and it is so much fun. But yeah, I was one of the lead designers alongside my partner Samantha Evans. Shout out Sammy to do the help with the exterior and interior of the project. Yes.
What did the inside look like when you guys first walked through it?
So when we got to the project, it had at that point had pretty much been gutted. So, it needed flooring. It needed a full build out for the bar. It It was really just a space that you could walk through and sort of see the scale of it, but nothing was really inside yet as to.
So envisioning from bare bones.
Bare bones, yes. So we got to start from scratch, really was great.
When it comes to the exterior, what was there? Because now there's this beautiful deck.
All of that actually was built to enhance the outdoor area and space so that people had plenty of seating outside. And Randy and Katie, the owners, did a really good job sort of mapping all of that out and making sure that it flowed really well. But really, when we walked up to it, initially it was at its original brick home. It had no dimension. It had no outdoor seating to speak of, nothing like that. And they really just built onto it and made it accessible. Now everyone, if you ever go there at any given time, there's people in every area.
There are
sitting that was planned for people to be sitting. They spread out all over the property, and I think that those two did a great job thinking all of that through.
Yeah, they really utilize every bit of
Every
space.
inch of
the
space.
Front, the back, the side.
Yeah.
They have these huge concerts out there now, picnic tables. But then they built on the restaurant, which is fabulous. They used to have a bunch of food trucks. Now they have a permanent restaurant. And then they just opened the ice cream shop, which my kids are obsessed with because then they come and steal my debit card.
It's a one-stop shop truly for families.
It is.
Yeah.
What was your favorite thing to design there? Like, what was your favorite? You got to put a little bit of you into there as well.
I think that if you asked both Sam and I, it was the main attractions, of course. So like the bar area is very like old world feeling and very vibey. And we got to throw in a bunch of beautiful tile and gorgeous marble. And Randy and Katie really let us make the bar feel, once you walk inside the building, like you were somewhere elevated, because the outdoor feels a lot more casual. And so we had fun kind of dressing that up, making it feel like a great place for a date night. And funny enough, we really worked hard to make the bathrooms fun.
The bathrooms are beautiful. I love them.
You go on a little trip when you go into the bathrooms, you'll have to go and check them out. So yeah, we kind of just took creative freedom in the bathrooms and really punched it out and made it more of an experience rather than just your typical.
It's very weird to say, like, oh my gosh, did you see their bathrooms? But I could tell you every really pretty bathroom in Wilmington. Like, it does matter.
I think that's what inspired us. You know, a few restaurants in town had popped up with some really great bathrooms, and we would walk in and we would go to dinner, and then we'd go into these bathrooms and see the younger generation taking selfies and, in these bathrooms as like sort of like this place where they could come and kind of have fun.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, why don't we bring that to the Bend? Because the space isn't huge, but these two little spots can really pop. And so, yeah, that's what we did. Yeah, it was really great.
So great.
Yeah.
And you're right. Selfies in bathrooms. That's
selfies in bathrooms.
At the Bend.
Yep. Make smart choices.
Make smart choices. Okay. So you took what was basically a very standard 70s brick rancher and really turned it on its head.
Yes.
Is that something you could do from not just a business perspective, but also a personal perspective? There are a lot of brick ranchers in Wilmington.
Yeah, I think there's really a lot of room to play with a ranch, especially just the way it's laid out and the space you have to move through it. I think the Bend is an example of how you can take something that looks like it has no potential at all and transform it into something completely different. And it's small changes, because if you really think about it, the things that Sam and I did and that Katie and Randy did to the Bend were not mind-blowingly, difficult or anything. But how far paint can go, how far flooring can go, how far just hardware choices can go in a space to elevate it. And it doesn't always mean you're breaking the bank doing it either. And that's where value-driven, renovation is really based on being creative and having the eye for things, small things that can be done that make the biggest difference. For example, if you're in a ranch house that has this crazy colored Formica countertop and you're trying to sell this house and you can't replace the countertop, sometimes it's about changing the wall color to make the countertop not so obvious. That's where creativity and design has to come into play, so that the client is not feeling forced to spend all this money and then have a less of a return on their investment later on.
Which I feel like is really important right now. Like what we're seeing in the Wilmington market is like we're starting to cool a little bit. Less houses are going on the market right now than the previous year. So I feel like people are going to be really conscious about their renovation choices and what they need to do to get their house sold quickly. So yeah, that makes sense. With all this new construction going on in Wilmington, do you think that that is like the right direction for people who want something that feels new? Or do you think that they can work with what they have enough to still get the functionality and aesthetics?
Yeah, I do think there's something to be said for making small changes that have big impact in older homes that people just don't see. They don't have that foresight.
Or they've been
themselves,
looking at it too long.
Or they've been
Like,
looking at it too long, so the creativity bubble is no longer there. Just kind of understanding that there is a way to make a mountain out of a molehill, really. And there's also just so much charm you can hang on to with an older home.
That's my favorite.
It is very hard to build into a new home. And when we do build new homes and we design new homes, that's a huge part of, in my mind, being a good designer is putting in older elements to the home to make it look like it has a story, because that's really hard to get in a brand new home. And sometimes that's what people love. They want the new. They want that, like freshly, no one's ever stepped in this home type look.
It kind of stresses me out. Every new house or a big new project that we've finished up, I'm so afraid to scratch anything, to be the first dent, to be the first anything.
I think that puts a lot of people on their toes that buy new construction. It really, it makes everything on hypersensitive mode. Don't bump the wall.
It's hard to settle in and make it feel like home.
And something really welcoming about a home is, just living in it and having a story that's told and eclectic pieces that have come together to create a beautiful design. And really, that's the only way possible is in an older home. And it can be done. You may think you have one that can't be made beautiful, but it can always be done.
Yeah. So with new construction too, to make that homey feeling, I feel like that's still expensive. Like that's trim, that's paint, that's a lot of new furniture.
It's a lot of the details that already come in an older home that you have to bring into the new one. And I get automatically.
Nothing against new construction, because I also really love a new build and designing everything from scratch. But that's a huge
and unless you're doing
too.
Truly a custom build, you're really walking into a bit of a limited option for choices throughout the home.
We talked about that a little bit in the last episode, where we found a builder who was kind of a track builder, but he was also a semi-custom builder. And he let us move around some walls and rearrange, and we completely redid the front of the house. So, but those builders are really hard to come by.
They are hard to come by.
And especially in Wilmington with all these track builders right now, it's going to be a lot.
Yes.
So we will dig in and do a whole episode on new construction in a couple weeks. But until then, Greer, thank you so much.
My pleasure. This was fun. Yes, I love talking design and real estate.
It is kind of our favorite thing.
It is.
So thank you so much, Greer.
Yeah.
And I will see you around.
See you.
So if you're hearing the Ben story and thinking, okay, maybe not a bar or restaurant or an ice cream parlor, but I want to do something to add more value or just design and feel to my home, thank you so much for being here. And feel free to reach out to either myself at the ILM Realtor or Greer Elizabeth Interiors. I will link everything in the show notes so you can find where to contact anybody. I hope you guys took something away from this episode, whether that was just motivation to clean out a closet, motivation to paint a room, or if you realize that maybe this is the time to start a renovation and enjoy your home just a little bit more until you are ready to sell it. That's something that I was perpetually bad about, where I would do all of my last minute renovations and then put my house on the market and then sit in that house and be like, oh, this would have been so nice for the past 2 years. So if you or someone you know or someone you love is sitting on a home with some hidden potential, this might be the push that they were looking for. So feel free to share this with them. Until next time, thank you so much for joining the ILM Realtor podcast. And we will see you next time. Our next episode is going to be with Madison Williams from My Carolina Insurance. We are going to go over some big questions that people have, fill in some blanks, and hopefully get you guys feeling a little bit more confident about what you need in the insurance world.